Now at 10, we'll hear about an incentive program to bring new houses to Joplin. Plus, Missourians with their eyes on the Capitol file for candidacy even though some of them don't know what parts of the state they'll be representing. And the company working to breathe life into the old Olivia building in Joplin is now tackling another downtown landmark.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
We're in store for another round of wintry weather. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Bronte Sorotsky. Doug Hetty joins us with a first look at the weather.
Yeah, pretty big switch for us weather-wise from yesterday to today. Temperatures dropped extremely quickly, about 30 to 40 degrees within just a couple hours. 68 was our midnight high, and then we sat into lower 20s all day long. We have 2 waves which are going to affect us over the next 2 days. We have winter weather advisories really through the metro, Pittsburg south, and then winter storm warning, all the counties in the pink along and south of I-44. All right, nothing's going on right now. The clouds have been breaking up, but that's allowing those temperatures to drop even more. Here's our first couple waves out across southwestern parts of the U.S. We are going to be quiet tonight, but it is cold. We're sitting upper teens to near 20 degrees. I think we'll drop back to right around 12 degrees, 17 by 9. Look at the snow and sleet, which is really going to increase just after 9 a.m. We're going to get about a 3-hour period, 2 to 3 hour, that we are going to see snow and sleet for us tomorrow. Another round on Thursday. We'll break it down for you here in a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Housing developers can now receive incentives for building new homes in Joplin. Joplin Council tonight passed the Housing Revitalization Plan. Under the plan, incentives based on the value of a home will be awarded if the new home replaces an existing single-family home and complements the existing neighborhood. Officials hope the plan will encourage more people to build new homes in Joplin.
This is what we wanted. I mean, we want our city to move forward, and we want these areas, our neighborhoods, to improve, and this was a huge step forward. So we want to thank the citizens for passing the use tax ultimately.
The council also received an update on the development of a new fire station. Candidates in Missouri are signing up to run for Congress without knowing exactly who they will represent. That's just one of the curiosities on this opening day of filing for state offices. Reporter Kermit Miller has more.
Only people who file on the first day get to draw numbers from a fish tank for ballot position.
638.
Some candidates believe being listed first on the ballot in a crowded primary is worth some extra votes. The fish tank lottery evens the odds.
Would it be nice to be first on the ballot? Sure it would, but that's not my primary focus.
The brighter spotlight here fell in 2 areas. One, the state Senate filibuster and the resulting lack of finalized congressional district maps.
The state lawmakers have a tough job before them. They'll finish it. They'll pass a map.
They're going to work through it, and they're going to put together districts that represent Missouri well.
There are parts of 4 counties that are in my current House district. You know, if I had to move to one of the other counties, depending on how the lines are, I would do that.
In Missouri, that's not required of the people who serve in Congress. It is required of those elected to the state legislature, and the state Senate districts are still in the hands of a judicial panel.
But the residency requirements are different when the maps are redrawn, so it shouldn't be a problem for anyone.
The other spotlight here is on the Republicans running to replace Roy Blunt in the U.S. Senate. Almost all salivate at the idea of an endorsement by Donald Trump.
Supported President Trump on his tax cuts, lower prescription drug costs. No one will have to question my conservative America First credentials.
At least one has a campaign born of notoriety.
Einstein's definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you like the status quo.
Mark McCloskey's tabloid profile is eclipsed by that of former Governor Eric Greitens, driven from office by a sex and intimidation scandal, which ultimately never got prosecuted.
You've seen how now they've been charged with 7 felonies for creating a false case against us. We've been tested. I'm a fighter.
While Greitens might push the scandal into the shadows, you can count on his primary opponents to keep it alive.
I think he's going to have to make that case to Missourians. There's a lot of questions that were left unanswered when he left. And, I'm never going to quit on Missouri.
It's not conservative to tie a woman up in your basement and to assault her and to bring shame and disgrace on our state.
Missouri lawmakers are working to change the state's election process. A bill in the House would require photo ID and an update of the voter rolls. The bill would also revoke state funding for any local election authorities who fail to comply with new regulations. Proponents say the changes are necessary to prevent voter fraud. According to New York University's Brennan Center for Justice, 34 restrictive voting laws passed in 19 states last year. The Missouri House passes a pair of bills pushing back on requirements to get the COVID-19 vaccine. The legislation includes one bill that would ban public employers from requiring vaccinations, with exemptions for nursing homes and other healthcare facilities that need to mandate vaccines in order to get federal funding. A second bill would ensure people who are unvaccinated still get unemployment benefits if they're fired for not getting the vaccine. The Kansas House has approved a proposed amendment to the state constitution to make it easier for the legislature to overturn state agencies' regulations. Under the proposal, lawmakers could repeal regulations with simple majority votes in both chambers. Lawmakers now must pass a bill and obtain the governor's approval or 2/3 legislative majorities to override a veto. Most Democrats see the measure as a political attack on Governor Laura Kelly, but Republicans say they're trying to curb bureaucrats' power. The measure went to the Senate. Another downtown Joplin landmark is set to get a new lease on life. The former downtown YMCA in Joplin, which was home to a number of kids and families over the years, will soon be a real home to kids and families. Sawyer Smith with Blue Haven Homes says they're working to develop apartments in the building. They're the same group redeveloping the historic Olivia building in downtown. Smith says the history of the Y building is essential to its future.
The big one is we want to keep the YMCA feel, so we're going to be keeping the pool in the basement and really trying to transform a lot of the basement area into a gym and keep that activity focus of what the YMCA used to be for so many people around Joplin.
Smith says they're still very early in the planning stages, so an opening date is still too early to set. Freeman Health System today gave students at Joplin's McKinley Elementary a first-hand look at new telemedicine technology going into schools in the district. Officials say the program allows students to go to medical appointments without leaving school and without parents having to leave work.
Whether you have no insurance, whether you have Medicaid, whether you have private insurance, whether you're an employee of the school district, we have opportunities and we absolutely can utilize this program for any of those scenarios.
The program will go live at McKinley next week. It will be available at other schools by spring break. Still ahead, President Biden announces swift and severe sanctions against Russia, and why health experts say we might need a fourth COVID-19 shot by the fall.
Good luck trying to find.
The first round of international sanctions response has been swift and severe after Russian President Vladimir Putin said he would send what he calls peacekeeping troops into eastern Ukraine. The Biden administration called that explanation nonsense and is accusing the Kremlin of creating a pretext for further invasion.
This is the beginning of a Russian invasion of Ukraine.
The European Union is also moving forward with economic sanctions, and in a significant move, Germany announced it will halt the $11 billion Nord Stream 2 pipeline that would have moved natural gas from Russia to Germany. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham said he and other lawmakers are working on their own legislation to give more assistance to Ukraine and possibly create a multi-agency task force to target Russian oligarchs. COVID-19 cases, hospitalizations, and deaths continue to drop in the U.S., but top health officials say vaccination and boosting will be critical to keeping that momentum going. And a fourth dose of the COVID-19 vaccine might be recommended this fall. Mandy Gaither has the latest.
In the war on COVID-19, the U.S. is heading in the right direction. The new daily case count down 42% since last week. The FDA is continually monitoring data to determine if or when healthy adults could benefit from a fourth COVID-19 shot.
Many of us expect that in the years to come, we will have yearly doses of COVID vaccine the same way that we do for the flu vaccine.
Countries like Israel and Sweden are already offering a fourth shot of COVID-19 vaccine for older adults. In the U.S., an FDA official says a fourth dose could happen this fall. Right now, the CDC has no recommendations on fourth doses for the general public, but their updated guidelines seem to suggest it's a good idea for some who have weakened immune systems to get a fourth shot of the Moderna or Pfizer vaccine.
People who are immunosuppressed should be going and getting a fourth shot because their bodies are less able to produce that protection that the rest of us have.
Right now, about 65% of the U.S. population is fully vaccinated. 28% have gotten a booster, but the pace of vaccinations is the slowest it's ever been. Health officials say there needs to be a continued focus on raising those numbers.
We need to get the third of Americans who haven't even gotten their first 2 shots, we need to get them vaccinated. And then of those who received their first 2 shots, older folks, people who are age 50 plus, should be going to get a booster today.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A fall second booster timeline coincides with when flu shots are typically given, which could be convenient for people. It also makes sense because respiratory viruses like the coronavirus and influenza tend to peak in winter months. The U.S. women's national soccer team reaches a landmark settlement with the U.S. Soccer Federation to resolve its years-long fight for equal pay. The $24 million settlement stems from the equal pay discrimination lawsuit the players filed in 2019 following the team's 4th World Cup victory. It includes back pay and equal pay with the men's team going forward, including World Cup bonuses. The two sides had previously agreed on improved working conditions. The IRS has an alternative for the facial recognition program used to verify a taxpayer's identification. ID.me, the IRS's facial recognition vendor, has drawn criticism from civil liberty groups that say the program could harm the privacy of its users. In a statement, the IRS says people can now do a live virtual interview with agents without the use of biometric data. AT&T shuts down its 3G network today. Other carriers are following suit later this year, and it wouldn't just impact older phones, but also everyday devices you probably own. That's because a range of products require updates to continue working. That includes some home alarm systems, medical devices like detectors, and in-car crash notification and roadside assistance systems like OnStar. Health officials are watching for a return of a past virus after finding it in more states. Avian flu, also known as bird flu, has been detected by federal officials in a flock of birds in New York and Maine. Samples from non-commercial backyard flocks in Suffolk County, New York, and Knox County, Maine, were tested and confirmed with the virus. USDA officials quarantined the locations and the birds will be depopulated. Officials say those flocks aren't entering the food system to cause immediate concern. A bird flu outbreak in 2015 killed 15 million birds in the U.S. Later, a COC rivalry matchup on Carthage takes on Webb City. Jacob Leonard has the highlights in sports.
Plus more sleet and snow rolling in for us here in about 12 hours. Those details coming up. Well, it turned out to be kind of a nasty day for us today. We had scattered thunderstorms last night along and south of I-44. Arctic front dropped through, had some flurries kind of spitting today, a little bit of freezing drizzle in spots. That's why our tower cam has a little bit of ice on it. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. We do have winter storm warnings in effect. All of these purple counties, so from Grand and Neosho up toward Lockwood, and Monette, Aurora, Cassville, all the way down toward Bentonville. In the purple counties, we are dealing with a winter weather advisory, and all this is going to go into effect as we go into the daytime hours for us tomorrow, as our next band will start to head in our direction. Look at our temps yesterday. Look at our temps at 3 a.m. And then we jumped off the cliff and we stayed into the 20s all day long. Of course, we're cooling off even more now. The clouds we had earlier have been breaking up, so that's allowing our temperatures to drop. Next storm system building back to our south and to our west, which is going to send 2 waves of energy toward us as we go through about the next 48 hours. All right, temps tonight. Here's 4:30 in the morning. Lower teens. Clouds will start to increase by mid to late morning. Mainly after about 10 a.m., we get a pretty intense band of snow and sleet in here. I think we'll start as snow and go over to sleet. Most of this is all going to be very light out here, so not much accumulating. It's mainly going to be along and south of I-44. If we stay snow, we can pick up a quick inch or two of snow. If we switch over to sleet, that cuts down the totals and we can pick up a quick half inch of sleet. But again, really from Parsons, Pittsburg, Lamar, south, that's where we have this batch that is going to roll through tomorrow. It's not going to last long, 2-3 hours. And then once it passes by, we go over to very light freezing drizzle. So all this is light freezing drizzle, maybe a few flakes spitting, really a lull. Not too much going on tomorrow evening. Most of tomorrow night, just some light freezing drizzle, which could still cause some issues, but nothing really heavy and accumulating. And then late tomorrow night into Thursday morning, here we go again. We get bands of sleet and south of I-44 freezing rain, very light snow in our western counties, and then we all end with a little bit of light snow, and then we're done with this system by the middle of Thursday. So it moves in, probably snow, mid-morning. We go over to sleet and freezing rain all the way through Thursday, and then it tapers off by the time we head into Thursday afternoon. I'm not expecting a whole bunch of freezing rain as of now, so I'm going to keep lights amount north of I-44 glaze, south of I-44 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch, which is pretty equivalent to what we did see last week. All right, sleet and snow. This is the tricky part of the forecast. How much sleet? How much snow? I think most of it's going to be sleet, so upwards to an inch of sleet and upwards to an inch of snow in most locations, which, so this is not a big storm system, but it's definitely big enough to cause some issues on the roads over the next 2 days. So 2 batches, one tomorrow midday, next batch Thursday morning. We stay cold, back to 30 Friday. We get above freezing by the weekend.
All right, definitely lots of changes. Most important to be careful. People who have to be on the road tomorrow.
Yeah, if you have to be out, be careful.
All right, thanks, Doug. Coming up in sports, national recognition for a Pitt State runner after breaking the program's mile record. And Carthage ends the regular season with a rivalry game at Webb City. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Tonight is the final night of the regular season for Carthage High School basketball. The Tigers are on the road this evening facing COC rival Webb City. Now, the boys' game features 2 of the best in Southwest Missouri. Carthage is 18-6 this season. Webb City 16-8, currently ranked 6th in the state in Class 5. Now, the Cardinals were on fire in the first, and Cole Vaden, he was the catalyst. Hit outside, driving and scoring. Vaden gets 10 in the first quarter, finishes with 12. Webb City leads 23-6 after 1. A second quarter now, Carthage creeping back in. Joel Pugh, you know what he's about, connects on the 3, then off the steal, Justin Ray ahead to Max Templeman. Big second quarter for the Tigers, gets them within 9 at the break. And on the third, Vaden to Caden Turner. Leads back to double digits. Turner leads Webb City with 14 points, 9 rebounds. Now early fourth, Carthage trying to stay in it. Templeman, nice reverse there. He scores a game-high 21, but Webb City gets by the Tigers on senior night 61-54. As for the girls' game in Webb City, Carthage trying to avoid a 3-game losing streak heading into the district playoffs. In that one, though, it's Webb City winning 38-29. Kinsey Robbins leads the way for the Cardinals with 12, while Kate Brownfield adds 11. Another big boys matchup in the COC tonight. 9th ranked Neosho in Joplin this evening facing the Eagles. Joplin wins a good one over the Wildcats 67-63. Pittsburg High School senior Elle Slaughter signs today to continue her softball career at the next level. Slaughter will be staying in Southeast Kansas, signing this afternoon to play at Labette Community College. Slaughter will play catcher for the Cardinals next season. She'll be a 4-year starter when the Dragons start the spring season. Now, this opportunity to keep playing means a lot to Slaughter, who's pretty much been playing softball her entire life.
I've been playing softball my whole life, so I know the sport really well. So I think that I'll be confident, and just with the coaching and the girls, I just felt very welcome. So I'm not going to be as nervous going in. This opportunity means a lot to me because with my parents starting the Purple Crush organization, softball has been our life forever since I can remember, and so ongoing with this is just a great opportunity for me. And I love the sport. We all do, so it's very nice.
Pittsburg State runner Mason Straiter has been named the Division II National Men's Track and Field Athlete of the Week. Straiter put his name in the history books on Friday, competing at the University of Arkansas qualifier. The PSU junior won the mile race in 3 minutes, 58.47 seconds. He's the first Pitt State men's runner ever to break the 4-minute mark in the mile. His time is the 4th fastest in Division II history. Now here's Straiter on earning the national recognition and breaking that 4-minute mark for the first time in his career.
When you're in high school and running the mile, everyone talks about breaking 4 minutes, but just recently it became more of a goal. It was all about improvement each season, and not too long ago I was running a 4:22 mile as a freshman in the Pitt jersey, so it recently built up to that, and just the improvement each season gave me the chance to do that last weekend. I hope that's not the ceiling yet. We got a few more years to go, and we'll keep working until we find a new top.
And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
We take time now to honor a local veteran. Seaman First Class Floyd Mays served in the U.S. Navy. He's from Kansas City, Kansas. We're proud to salute Seaman First Class Floyd Mays, tonight's Four State hero. All right, why don't we take a final look at the weather, Doug?
Let's do it. It's going to be cold tonight. I just went out and started my car. It's crisp. It's windy. Lower teens 23 tomorrow. Sleet and snow increased by mid to late morning.
All right, final look at sports.
The Colgan girls basketball team just finished off a perfect regular season, 18-0 tonight with a road win over Girard. You can check out our full story with them. We talked to Coach Farabi on the sports page at KOAMNewsNow.com.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great evening.
Services provided by the Wild